Hi everyone, thanks so much for joining me today for this video, the 5 steps to start a healthy money talk without fighting with your spouse or partner. I'm Adam Cole from AHK Coaching. If you enjoy the video, please go ahead and give it a like and or subscribe to my channel. Would love to have you join here. I post weekly content on different topics related to money and relationships, really powerful stuff. So again, thanks for watching this video. I hope you enjoy it. So if you're watching this video, you may be in a relationship with your partner, maybe you're sharing money, maybe you're not, but maybe you think you should be. Either way, you know this is an important topic for you to discuss. And in fact, financial stress, as I say a lot on this channel and in my materials, is the #1 cause of divorce. The #1 cause of divorce in the United States of America. So obviously it's a big deal, and a lot of people are really struggling with this conversation. So today, I thought I'd teach you and show you the steps, the keys to get this conversation started in a healthy way. So key #1 is self-understanding. Self-understanding means you're going to want to get to know yourself on a deeper level. So right now you probably know, okay, we want to talk about money, but it's not working for some reason. Maybe we fought in the past, or maybe we're both just too scared to bring it up, or maybe we didn't even realize before that this was something important to discuss, and now all of a sudden we're like, whoa, this is kind of a big deal. So inside of self-understanding, you're going to want to take some time and maybe even journal. That's actually my recommendation, to think through, what are you feeling? What are your fears? What are your concerns, right? And then once you've written that list, maybe prioritize them and pick the top 1 or 2, right? And through this process, you want to think about this financial stress or lack of conversation. How is it affecting you, and how is it affecting you in your personal life and inside of the relationship? Secondly, you're going to want to, or I guess third, you're going to want to think of, why do you care? Why does this matter? And probably it's because of the care you have for your partner and your relationship and the life you've built together. But you're going to want to think of that in your own words. And fourth is to think about, what would you want? If you could wave a magic wand around you and your partner's ability to talk about and work with your money and your finance situation, what would you want that to look like? Okay, and once you've thought through all of that, again, I really recommend journaling about this. And this is to cultivate an understanding of yourself so you can bring yourself to the conversation from a place of groundedness, from a place of depth. Now we're going to move on to step 2. Step 2 is to consider your partner. Now, they may have been annoying you, frustrating you, you may be really upset at them, there may be a lot of resentment, and if so, I totally get that, it's extremely common. What you're going to want to do, though, is to get really curious about their relationship to money. Each of us has a relationship to money that's been sculpted through the years, from our parents, from our family, from messages we've gotten from media and society, things we've seen around us. Your partner's no exception. So you'll want to take a moment to get curious, what were the influences they maybe had from their parents and their family? And how did that affect them? How about based on their gender, their race, their religion, things like this? What are the ideas that society has about people quote unquote look like them or who look like them? Because these things, whether we accept or reject those premises, they get into our subconscious, and it can affect our relationship to money, and certainly how we relate to our partner around money. And in this space, as you're thinking through this, I want you to really try on something. Try on kindness. Not like that what they did is okay or it was working or whatever if it wasn't, right? But just to give them the benefit of the doubt. Because most of us are really just trying our best at any given time, and they may have a lot of baggage that they're bringing to the table, just like you might. So kind of give them the benefit of the doubt, and that is going to take you so far. Okay, so now on to step #3, move forward. So if you've been wanting to have this conversation, you haven't moved forward, you probably are dealing with some fear, and if so, that is so totally normal. The good news about the fear is that fear and courage can coexist. Right? So you may very well be in a position where you need to have both here to move forward. Now, how can you move forward with that courage? And if so, what are you going to say? How are you going to do this? Well, now you're going to want to pose a question to your partner, right? You're going to want to ask them to have a conversation, to start the conversation about these things, and hopefully do it in a healthy way. So here's my top advice. You want to frame this question positively. You want to frame this conversation positively while also sharing some of your feelings, right? You might say, hey, this is really, I really care about our finances, and, use what you discovered in step 1, the why you would care and what you'd want, right? It's like, hey, I really care because I love you and I love our family and I want us to both really succeed. And if I'm honest, the conversation around money has been kind of stressful for me. So here's where you want to share some of your feelings. And you're like, I've kind of been afraid to talk about it, but I realize this is really important. And, I'd like to move forward with having a conversation like this. And a key here is to root your ask and your framing inside of what you and your partner both want for your lives, for your relationship, for your family. And that will create the context for them that this is a really important conversation that will move you forward as a family, as a partnership. And finally, in this step, I invite you to end your request with an open-ended question. So an open-ended question is to be distinguished from a closed-ended question where the answer is just yes or no. Sometimes these are really useful, right? Like, hey, do we need oranges from the store? Yes or no. That's the only information you need. But here, instead of saying, I want to talk about this, you can say something like, when would work for you to talk about this? So you give them more freedom, more autonomy, more space. So that's step 3, moving forward. And now we're fast forwarding to where you may actually be having this conversation. Step 4 is set the stage. And these things may be obvious, and yet they're also worth saying. Number 1 is tech-free. Put the cell phones away. Right? Just really be focused and present with each other. Second piece of this is to get connected before you have the conversation. Don't just dive right in after you've each worked 14-hour days. Ask each other how your day was. Have a glass of wine. Whatever it is that helps the two of you get related to each other so that you can have this conversation from a place of love. And third, within step 4 of setting the stage is to just ensure you have peace and quiet. This is really an essential conversation. So even if it means hiring a babysitter or asking the grandparents or friends to watch the kids or whatever this means, right, really carve out the space, because this is an important conversation and set of conversations that can make the difference in success or failure in your relationship. So, take it seriously and make sure you have phones away, that you two are connected to each other and why you care about each other before you start, and make sure there's peace and quiet. Now, the 5th and final step is to understand first. And you may have heard this quote, understand first, then seek to be understood. And it's really gold for communication and relationships. So if you can just listen to your partner's feelings without judgment and validate their feelings and, see that they're valid and they were trying their best and now they're just trying to have their needs met so that you can move forward productively, you're going to have so much success. And they'll let you know one way or the other when they feel really heard and understood. And from that place, now you can share what's been going on for you. And I promise it will just occur entirely differently. So there are your 5 steps to the 5 key steps to starting a healthy money conversation with your partner or spouse without fighting. Number 1 is cultivating your self-understanding. Number 2 is considering your partner and where they're coming from and giving them the benefit of the doubt. Step 3 is moving forward, framing the conversation positively in terms of what you both want for your partnership and your family, and give them an open-ended question of, when would be a good time for you to talk about this. 4th is set the stage, get connected to each other and have peace and quiet and phones away. And step 5 is understand your partner first and then seek to be understood after that. So thank you so much for joining me today. And if you liked the video, then go ahead and give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more content just like this every week. Thanks and have a wonderful day.